New horrors strike the seas as today I am tasked with putting them down, but not before I run into a few problems of my own. As we make our way closer to the shores of gold, I start to believe this may take a little longer than first anticipated. Whilst more things are thrown my way, it only goes to prove the pirate I have become today. So join me, Captain Daddy, as I sail all the more closer to the shores of gold. We begin our next voyage in this adventure arriving at the tent of Madame Olivia at Plunder Outpost, ready to hear my next steps in receiving the missing pieces to the Shroud Breaker. She spoke at great lengths about this fabled pirate, now known as the Skeleton Lord Briggsy. I was tasked now with taking down this fearsome foe to retrieve her skull. A nice way to start off our next journey, bringing back the skull of your enemy. But I was after gold and lots of it, so I know I had to get started. As if my previous tale was anything to go by, this step was not going to be over quickly. Reading through these notes in a new journal I was handed, I had more puzzle solving to do, trying to understand these notes and hearing that I must bring over some lost artifacts from this once was pirate, so that Madame Olivia could point me in the direction of our enemy. So began my long sail, and I mean especially in a sloop against the wind the entire time. I was moving at a snail's pace, and I was unsure I would even find the first item before I would have to set up for the night. But finally, I sailed up to my destination, hoping to retrieve one of the relics. But as I looked around, a Reaper sloop was heading straight for me. I called out, letting them know I was on a tall tale, just minding my own business. But to these Reapers, I was their business. They began to open fire, and now I had to fight to survive, dropping sails and hoping that I could outlive these pirates, as I was not prepared to sail all the way back here. It wasn't long before they boarded me, but luckily I was prepared for this, taking them out rather swiftly, before repairing my ship and meeting them on the open sea. I shot my cannon right into the face of the enemy captain, quite impressed with myself, before firing more holes into the side of their vessel. Upon trying to turn into them, however, I soon noticed that my helm had been struck, and I was sailing away from them at speed as I tried to quickly repair. Finally, I was able to turn my ship around. However, as I did, I noticed that just like that, I had taken down these Reapers, and there was now nothing in the way of me receiving my treasure from this island. That's what I thought anyway, until as I was attempting to understand these riddles in the journal, I was met by a pirate from the previous crew, still trying to take me on, but he was soon sleeping with the fishes as I took him out. Proceeding to dig up the entire island for what I was searching for, fighting off also against a skeleton captain and some ghouls, I finally found it. The clue that made me realise I was on the wrong island. I once again had to sail away, so far achieving nothing but sinking some Reapers, before finally making it to Snake Island. As I got on land, I could hear voices, and I finally knew I was in the right place, so I followed the sounds, leading me to a camp of angry skeletons, which I now had to fight my way through. This was a simple fight though, and I was quickly awarded with a skeleton key, which wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I was at least on the right track. Once again, I had to endure a long sail against the wind, in the hopes that I was correct on my next destination, and as I arrived there, I could once again hear the sound of evil skeletons, in which I had to take out. Another quick battle led to nothing. This captain didn't have anything on him. However, after a little digging near the camp, I was finally holding a chest for the key, holding the items I needed from before. Using the key, I could see inside a star map and spyglass, both belonging to Briggsy, and now it was up to me to sail back to Plunder and deliver these goods to Madame Olivia in the hopes of her pointing me to this foe. After sailing back to Plunder Outpost though, through the thick fog, I finally arrived. Handing over the item and watching as Madame Olivia began to use some strange voodoo magic, and after a flashy light show, she had created an enchanted compass that would lead me to the one who possessed these items. Now I was to head back out on the hunt, which led me through most of the seas on a long voyage until I realised that I was sailing straight towards a naval battle between a brigantine and a skeleton galleon. I tried to manoeuvre out of the way, however I soon found myself ramming into the port side of the brig before I sailed against the wind, preventing them from chasing me. But that did not stop the galleon. I was soon chased down and they began firing anchor balls into me, holding me in place and blowing holes all throughout my ship. The Redbeard struggled to hold on, and as the brig watched from afar, I was not giving in to this galley so easily. Many times I was close to sinking, but every time I managed to book it out the water, staying afloat, whilst getting some cannon shots on them when I had the chance. Without anchor balls, this would have been a simple sail away, making sure to keep afloat. However, being held in place over and over in a naval battle is devastating. By this point, I will say that I was quite frustrated and sure that this was over, but with some bad luck, good luck soon followed. Whilst I was trying to repair, a cannon flew right at my face, sending me straight to the ferry of the damned, and whilst I was sure I was going to sink, upon arriving back on board, I had noticed that not only had I not sunk, but I was now sailing away from the fight. Somehow I was free, and once again, although the brig did try to catch up with me, I was able to escape, leaving them to go back to their fight, as I now sailed towards my own battles. After much more sailing, the compass had now led me to Lone Cove, and I was preparing myself for a fight. And as I got onto the island, I was now sensing the presence of a great evil, and I knew this wasn't going to be easy. I made my way to the camp where Briggsy was begging for her skin back, before finally we locked eyes, and she wanted nothing more than my demise. Whether that's because I have skin, or she knew that I wanted her skull, I was not going to let her beat me, so I began slashing my way through both her friends and Briggsy. She was a force to be reckoned with, however, and any pirate not paying attention could find themselves quickly beaten by her, but I was too quick, jumping back and forth with my cutlass, until finally she had erupted, and I now possessed the skull of the former pirate legend, Briggsy. What was left to do now though, you guessed it, was to sail all the way back to Plunder Outpost, seeing nothing, but spending so long doing nothing as well. But finally I had made it there, and I can safely say that after watching Madame Olivia suck the memories from the skull once I handed it over, I now knew that the Order of Souls were hiding a great power amongst the Sea of Thieves, and I was more interested in what they had to offer. Once everything had been explained, I was now made aware that me and Tasha must go back to her tavern and discuss certain memories about her former friend Briggsy. And there was an old diary of Tasha's that she needed to give me, so we headed out and made our way there. That is all for this tale, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to check out my Twitch where you can catch more of my journeys live, or join my Discord to tell me of your own. But for now, I've been Captain Daddy, and until next time, arrgh!